Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. I'm Chris Lee, joined by Brian Edwards. We are previewing Mississippi State's trip to Florida. Gators 8.5-point favorites with a 51.5-point over-under, according to FanDuel. Game time 3:15 Central on the SEC Network. Right before we get into picks, reminder, we're brought to you by our friends at GameTime SIDEKICKS, which makes officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Every SEC school, 350 other universities, stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. SE16 gets you 20% off your entire order at GameTimeSidekicks.com. Also brought to you by the HOF app. Smart bettors rely on data. HOF hands you powerful analytics at your fingertips to tilt the odds in your favor. Prove your chances of winning using historical data. Matchup grades, trends, player performance. HOF was created by Ivy League sports geeks to let everyday fans bet smarter. For a limited time only, our listeners get a 7-day free trial. And also, you get 50% off your first month when you use code SE16 at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS or Android, enter code SE16, and you are all set. We're all set to talk about Florida and Mississippi State. And, Brian, I think the big question is, what in the world do we make of the Gators? Who just have been a mixed bag of performance over the last month.
Yeah. So with the open date looming, I don't think it's unfair to say that the potential of a pink slip is there Sunday or Monday if Florida loses outright. And when that has been the scenario, they've usually played well. That may or may not have been the scenario going into the Texas game. But obviously they played extremely well that game, and that was at home, and they are at home here. Now, when they started their run last year, it wasn't imminent because Strickland had given him that, well, sometimes they call it the dreaded vote of confidence, but he had released that statement right before the Texas game saying he would be returning. And that, and after the Texas game, when Lagway and Mertz were out and they had to start a third-string quarterback and one of the best teams in the country, they got blown out. But that's when the winning streak started. The next week, when they beat LSU and Ole Miss back-to-back at home. So maybe that means Florida's going to play great. But at the same time, for the first time, I kind of sense that maybe the players were getting a little mad at Napier last week with the play calling. If you're a good lip reader, there was a drive when Lagway came over to the sidelines, and you've never really seen Lagway visibly frustrated or negative body language. And I could read his lips, and it was a remark to his wide receiver about the play calling. So maybe for the first time, we're seeing that, maybe the attitude from the players might be even shifting to Napier as his ineptitude with play calling and clock management. I mean, at the end of the first half last week, I mean, what in the world was he doing? We're being satisfied at our own 45 with more than a minute left, even though we're down 7 and Texas A&M receives the ball, and we're going to go conservative, and we're not going to So we'll see.
Brian, I see two other problems. This feels like
there's many other problems.
Right. This feels like the kind of game he's lost. Like you beat Texas, which looked great last week against Oklahoma, and look, losing at Texas A&M right now, not a lot of shame. I think that's not only a playoff team, but one of the top 4 at this point. So, okay, there's that. But like you go back to the South Florida game where they had offensive issues, and like Billy Napier's tripped up in spots against teams he's not supposed to lose to. So there's that. And there's also this. Florida's been picked 7 times. It's lost 3 fumbles. State has been great at forcing turnovers. It has had 8 picks and 3 fumbles lost in a game where, a turnover that goes for a score can change the outcome of a game in the SEC, where all the games, or most of them, seem to be pretty close. I think that's a trouble spot potentially for Florida too.
Yes. And Florida hasn't. Now they did have that. They did get an interception actually in the end zone to halt a red zone opportunity from with Jordan Costell's interception last week against the Aggies. But Florida's not been great at producing turnovers, and as you noted, we've had giveaways and plenty of them. 5 from Lagway against LSU, and what he had. I don't think he had an interception last week, but he had 2 lost fumbles, I believe it was. Which I mean, you could maybe kind of put that on the O line as well. But yeah, turnover margin has not really been a good thing for Florida outside of last November throughout Napier's tenure.
Yeah, I think another problem. But let's talk Mississippi State for a minute. Really, really solid job. Great job, actually, by Jeff Lebby so far, getting this program to where it is at the midpoint of 2024. I do see some issues, though. And some of this is the opponents have gotten harder with each successive week. But yards per play on defense have gone up every single week, other than A&M last week. That went down a little bit from Tennessee. But total yards allowed by this defense the last 4 weeks: 161 against Alcorn State, 267 against Northern Illinois, 466 against Tennessee, 479 against Texas A&M. Total offense by game: 514, 452, 378, and just 219 against Texas A&M. Now, bye week to reset that, but you do wonder, looking at the numbers a little bit. Things started to catch up with Mississippi State a bit, maybe is more's on film out there. Again, I credit most of that to the schedule, but there is a little bit of a trend in play here too.
Yeah. Now, I thought their defense played a lot better than the final box score indicated at A&M. I mean, they had that great goal line stand. I think it was like late first quarter, early second. I mean, they held A&M scoreless in the first quarter in only 7 minutes. I mean, only 7 points at halftime. It was just that one of the first instances all year, or really the first instance all year, that the offense wasn't giving the defense much help. And I just thought they kind of got gassed in the second half against A&M. But I thought their defense played better than I know that A&M ended up with like 479 yards. But I most of that was in the second half when Mississippi State was just, too many 3 and outs. Mississippi State was 1 of 10 on third down that game. They ended up with only 219 yards. So it was just a poor effort offensively against A&M. Now, maybe we can put some of that on the fact that it was their 6th game in 6 weeks, and maybe they were just, a little fatigued, and that's another thing to keep in mind here. Mississippi State has had 2 weeks to prepare, and whereas Florida is coming off battles against Texas and A&M. Now, they did have an open date prior to the Texas game. I got a trivia question for you, Chris.
Sure.
It's a difficult one, so I won't hold it against you if you don't get it. The last time Mississippi State beat Florida, what was the head coaching matchup? It's a pretty comical matchup, is why if you need a hint,
I'm gonna guess Dan Mullen was coaching Mississippi State, and would it have been Will Muschamp at Florida?
It was Meyer and Muschamp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2010.
No kidding. Yeah.
I
thought it might have been that magical 2014 year, but anyway, yeah.
At the Swamp, that magical 2014 year.
Well, hey, I think back to State. I think the issue, like, they got outsnapped 71-51 last week. Hard to score points and not give them up when you don't have the ball. So I think, to me, that's kind of a key this week. Florida, not a team that really excessively holds the ball or doesn't either way. But I think the turnovers are a big thing. And I think, to me, probably the key in this is, like, Mississippi State, can they prevent Florida and DJ Lagway from making big plays? Because I think State's offense is a little bit more getting it done with the balanced running attack. Not that they don't have some explosiveness, because we saw it against Arizona State to win the game. But I do think this might be it's kind of been boom or bust with DJ Lagway. And like, can they spring some big plays to the Wilsons or things like that to win a game like this?
Well, I think the key for Florida is let's get Jaden Baugh going and let's run the football successfully to set Lagway up. And Mississippi State is 15th in the SEC in run defense. So I think Florida can effectively run the ball against Mississippi State. Now, I'm sure that means that Napier's going to come out and make Lagway throw 50 times. But I think that is what Florida should do: establish ball early and often, and that's what my plan would be if I'm Florida from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, I'm finding that I'm struggling to find things to talk about because it just really is like what Florida team shows up, right? If Florida shows up and plays really well, I think talent wins out with Eugene and Dallas Wilson. Dallas was just electric a couple of games ago. Again, this is a team 2 games removed from beating Texas. Did not look good at all. I mean, I say didn't look good. That was a good first half. And I think if you're State, it's just like, can you control the ball and the clock through the run game? But Florida's got a really good defense. Like even with performance being off in this one, the defense has been pretty good. And even last week, giving up 417 to A&M is not awful on the road against the kind of team they've got. I mean, they go 344 to a really good Miami offense. So I think to me, it's just like, who does what they do well? Can State kind of grind the game out, get the running game going, get some first downs, or is Florida just going to, with Eugene and Dallas Wilson and Lagway, just break big play after big play, and the athleticism will prove to be too much? That to me is where it sits.
Yeah, it was good to see Eugene Wilson getting back in the mix because he has he kind of been a non-factor for several weeks, and he got going. And I kind of figured that would happen with the Dallas Wilson, his big debut against Texas. I figured he'd be getting more attention, and that would open things up for the fellow freshman Vernell Brown and Eugene, and it did because they both had monster first halves, and then the abysmal play calling in the second half where he ran the ball on first down like 7 possessions in a row. It was ridiculous. But I'll give us something to talk about, Chris.
Okay.
Okay, so, and this is, let me give a hat tip to Gator Dave, David Waters, if our listeners can find him on Twitter. Okay, so Napier's 21-23 right now, which is the worst record for a Gator coach in the modern era, and actually since World War II, when a coach went 20-25, but he was hamstrung by people departing for the war. Napier's had the best facilities and
This is
more
a sentence we
resources.
never uttered on the show.
He was hamstrung by guys had to go across the pond. But anyhow, okay, so if Napier went on a winning streak, he would have to get to this many games to get to the level of these modern Florida coaches. So if Napier went on a 10-game winning streak, that would get him to Will Muschamp's record.
Yeah.
If he went on a 17-game winning streak, he would get to Zook's level. 19 to get to McElwain's level. He would have to go on a 29-game winning streak to get to Mullen's winning percentage.
Wow.
79 to Urban Meyer, and 82. An 82-game winning streak would get him the same winning percentage as Steve Spurrier.
Well, to be fair, I think the schedule he has played on average is tougher than what those guys face, but I get what you're getting at. Let's get to the bottom line here. Let's get to picks. I want to see if you're, does the devil or the angel win out on this one as you give us your winner here?
I'm probably going to be betting Mississippi State plus the points, but I'm thinking Florida finds a way to win outright at home, surely. And if they don't, I think the noise will be so loud that Napier's best buddy, A.D. Scott Strickland, will be given no choice, probably from several higher up donors before they leave the swamp on Saturday.
Yeah. There's this little alarm bell going off on my head that says this is the kind of game that, he will lose. He'll beat a Texas and lose to a Mississippi State. And I don't mean that's a slight against Mississippi State. I think Jeff Lebby's got them in a really good position. I just think I do question, is Waddle returning to the level a little bit with the talent of the teams they're facing? And boy, the schedule is brutal. And I kind of trust Lebby to coach the team up better than I do Napier right now. But I'm going to go with home field and talent and ride with Florida. But if that does not work out, let's just say we've been warned. Now I want to get your opinion on what kind of game this is going to be in terms of point totals, that kind of thing. Specifically, I want to get your opinion on the over-under. But before I do that, reminder, we're brought to you by Yearly Company, an Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition and designed for meaning. Each piece is handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized. Knowing your size is the most important first step before ordering. That's where the sizing kit comes in. It's the perfect place to start, especially for husbands who want to have their sizes ready now. So shopping closer to the holidays is effortless, and boy, we all want that. SE16 kit, KIT, will take 100% off your sizing kit at checkout. So go to Yearly Company, get your Christmas shopping done early, and thank us later. Also brought to you by ROKFORM. If your head coach makes you want to throw your phone, Brian Edwards, make sure it's protected in ROKFORM gear. Is the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock secure mounting. This is the busiest time of the year with a new iPhone release. SEC 25 gets you 25% off your entire order at ROKFORM. I use their stuff. I swear by it. Think you should do the same as well. Also love my hats by HOVI Dry Goods. My Titans stink. My Titans hats do not. Look no further than HOVI for your new favorite hat. High quality headwear, great fit and unique designs. Bad Beat, BADBEAT, gets you 15% off your entire order at HOVI. That is HOVI, drygoods.com. You will love their hats. All kidding aside. All right, let's get the picks on over under. The over under on this one as of Tuesday morning. It is Florida 51.5. I don't know, man. I feel like with State's offense kind of trending in a different direction, of turnovers are the thing. 51.5 feels maybe a little high to me, especially given the way Florida's defense has played.
Yeah. So the under is actually, I was kind of surprised. The under is 4-2. For Mississippi State, but they've had a lot of times, they've had totals of 60, 59, 56.5, 63.5. This is their second lowest total. The only total they had lower was 48.5 against Northern Illinois in a 38-10 win that went a half point under. The under is 4-2 for Florida, which does not surprise me. This is their third lowest total. I'm thinking Florida 27-24, which would be 51, which would slither under the 51.5. So obviously not a lot of confidence in it, but I'll go under 51.5.
I like the choice of words there. Slither under, just what a Gator would do. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll wrap this up when it's done. Subscribe to the channel, enable your notifications so you get that. For Brian Edwards, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you, and thank you for watching Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel.